got a 9-year-old son, and I was kind of embarrassed by when it first started. They told the kids, go home. We homeschooling now. Son went up to my wife and told my wife that over this quarantine, he was going to see how long he could go without taking a shower. I'm like, boy, what kind of goals are those that you have? And my son ain't the type of boy that needs not to take a shower. You got to take showers, huh? My son wake up like he was in a karate dojo in the morning. Like, why you smell like this first thing in the morning, boy? What? And he told me he want to break a record. I'm like, no, son, you get your behind in there and shower. And my son has been very frustrating to my wife because, we homeschooling. We're not homeschool family. We didn't homeschool before this. So my wife, she was the lead teacher. I was helping, but I got fired. I got demoted. I'm over snacks and safety now. This is, I had one lesson, but I guess it didn't go well. So she demoted me. And so the boy made her quit though. She didn't stay long. My wife quit before spring break. So I think the kids were out like the middle of March. My wife threw her hands up the beginning of April. She like, I'm not doing this no more. I'm gonna tell you what my son, he's a genius, but he's an evil genius. This is what he did. So my wife, she on all these calls, Zoom calls, conference calls. So my son, his workstation is right beside her. And they sent home these packets of work. My son in the 4th grade. And they sent home these Department of the Army packages. I don't know who how much coloring you need to be doing every day. They sent home these huge packets. So my wife would sit my son down at the table. He would work on one problem. Then he would take a 15-minute break. And I'm talking about you had to go find him type break. Like, where is he? So my wife got tired of doing this. She said, I'm quitting. Y'all, it's summertime. It's summertime. So now the kids are just up all hours of the night. They just up for no reason. And my son, he has a Nintendo Switch. And I try to be like the stern one and say, hey, man, you can't play this all the time. You got to ask for permission to play. You just can't play the game. But what my son doesn't know is I really want to play the game. Son 11 now, man. That's a rough age, man. I smell him before I see him. I say, man, this is the smell in this little boy. What is wrong with little boy? They don't want to wash. Have no desire. They just go in there and turn on the water and look at it. I like, man, if you don't get your behind in that shower. Y'all, when the quarantine first happened, my son went to my wife and was like, he was going to break a record of how many days he could go without washing. I said, no, sir. What you're not going to do is smell like the outside on the inside, sir. That's what My son wake up smelling like a karate dojo. I'm like, man, what in the world? Why you smell like you worked third shift last night, son? This is awful. You got to wear a mask to go in his room, a gas mask. I said, boy, if you don't get your little smelly behind in the shower. My son loves sports. He's active. I don't like to call him athletic. He's active. He falls a lot, but nobody near him. He just be falling down. So I don't know why they say, son, you can't be athletic. You fall. You got to stay on your feet. You got to stay up. Love sports, though. We signed him up for flag football. Yeah, that was a waste of money right there. Yeah, his team went defeated. Yeah, they won no games. Matter of fact, they tied the game. My son came home super excited, hopping around. I was like, hey, man, what you so excited about? My son was like, Dad, Coach said that whenever we tie, like both teams won. I was like, no, son. Coach lied. The score was 0-0. You both lost, son. I don't feel like the coach sent my son mixed messages. Son came home was like, Dad, it doesn't matter. Coach said it doesn't matter whether you win or whether you lose. What matters is if you have fun. I was like, no, son. Coach lied again. I was like, son, if you want to have fun, just go in the backyard and play. Yeah. But once I pay for registration, I need some wins. I need some first downs. I need some progressions.
So my kids were in virtual school, man, and when it first started, I was the teacher, right? Didn't take long before my wife relieved me of my duties. Once she fired me, I was over snacks and security. The issue was my wife didn't like my educational philosophy. She didn't like the stuff I was teaching my kids, man. I was teaching my children some things I learned when I was a child. Do y'all remember those bizarre stories they taught us called nursery rhymes? Y'all remember these things? There was an old lady that lived in a shoe. She had so many children. She didn't know what to do. So she fed them broth without any bread and whooped them all soundly and put them to bed. This is not a spare the rod church right here. This is y'all. That lady going to jail. You can't put that on social media, ma'am. You can't post that. What about this one? Peter, pumpkin eater, had a wife. He couldn't keep her. He put her in a pumpkin shell. And there he kept her. Very well. Yeah, Peter has a Netflix documentary coming out called The Making of a Murderer Pumpkin Pie Style. That'll be out on Hulu in the fall. I'm gonna tell you, the straw that broke the camel's back was when my wife heard my son singing this dumb little song I taught him in music class. 10 Little Monkeys, y'all remember that song? 10 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off, bumped his head. Mama called the doctor and the doctor said, no monkeys jumping on the bed. Then it was 9 little monkeys. Then 8 little monkeys. Then 7 little monkeys. I'm like, this doctor not gonna call Child Protective Services on this woman. This woman's clearly overwhelmed with all these children. She need to call old lady in the shoe. I bet you after some broth and a whooping, they stop jumping on that bed. I tell you that much. Taught us some strange stuff, man. On a day where it rained, I was singing this dumb little song to my son that somebody sung to me. It's raining. It's pouring. The old man is snoring. He went to bed and bumped his head and couldn't get up in the morning. I'm like, why am I singing homicide hymns to my son before he go to sleep? The boy gonna have nightmares, people. This ain't good parenting right here at all. What about the Hush Little Baby lullaby? What was going on with those parents? They buying mockingbirds and billy goat. How about you buy some formula? How about you do that? Go get the baby some milk. A diamond ring? Who buys a baby a diamond ring? That's a choking hazard. You do not give that. Give that to no baby.
I think a lot about my childhood, man, because my kids are doing stuff as children that I didn't do until I was a grown man. We go out of town, my kids, they stay in a hotel in a bed by themselves. I didn't stay in a hotel when I was a kid. We stayed at a relative's house. And I slept in the bed with 4 other little kids. And I would pray every night, please, Lord, don't let nobody wet this bed. But that prayer would fall on deaf ears every time. That prayer was never answered. My kids have luxuries. They go to daycare. I didn't go to daycare when I was a kid. My grandma kept me. And all day it seemed that she didn't care to have me at her house. Because days at my grandmother's house consisted of beanie weenie lunches and marathon naps. And the reason I say marathon naps because my nap time corresponded when it was time for her to watch her stories. Yo, as soon as those stories came on, my grandma was like, lay down and go to sleep. Lay down and go to sleep. Yo, I had to sleep from the beginning of Days of Our Lives to Santa Barbara went off. I'm like, that's 3 hours, Grandma. I'm gonna go outside and play with my friends. She was like, lay down, go to sleep. So y'all, here I am, 4 years old, learning how to be deceptive. I'm laying on the couch, eyes wide open, fake sleeping, like, My grandma like, boy, you sleep? I'm like, yes, ma'am. Lay down, go to sleep. Another thing that's interesting for me, like kids, they can just Google anything if they have a question. I couldn't Google stuff when I was a kid. If I wanted to have an answer to a question when I was a kid, I had to have a conversation with someone, or I had to go to the encyclopedia. And I was a weak little kid, so I could not pick up the encyclopedia. So I had no information. Y'all, I remember when I didn't know how to spell a word, I would ask my mother how to spell a word. You know what my mother would tell me? Look it up in the dictionary. I was like, Mama, I don't know how to spell the word. Yo, I spent 4 weeks in the L's looking for elephant. I was like, no, Mama, I see leprosy. I don't see anything. Y'all, I almost passed out looking for pneumonia. I was like, this is not a real word. This is a make-believe word. I got a daughter that's going into her senior year of high school, man. Don't clap, keep your hands. I don't like it, man. I'm feeling away. I don't like it. I'm telling you, I don't like it, man. I remember my daughter, she was going to the 9th grade. I knew things had changed. I looked at my daughter, I was kind of being all jokey dad, ha. I was like, hey, you ready for how you feel? You ready to go to high school? My daughter looked me in my eyes, she said, are you ready for me to go to high school? I said, oh, that's not good, man, that's not good. She went to prom. She looked good, too. I wanted to like hide out in the bushes at the prom. We took her to this summer college thing on at South Carolina from Wednesday to Saturday, and you had to drop them off and leave. You know, you can't stay. You got to go. And I wanted to go. My wife didn't want to go. She was like sitting in the room. I'm like, hey man, it's time to go. But I wasn't able to do that 10 minutes earlier. I was about to cry myself. I was about to weep. Cause man, that's my daughter, my oldest daughter, man. She driving. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And her and my wife, they coerced me to speed up this driving thing. I was like, you should get that your senior year, you know, like you don't get it early, you know. I was like after high school when I got my license. I turned out fine, you know. We good. But my wife convinced me, like, hey, let it drive, because they got this snitch software out here on these phones where you can, Life 360, y'all familiar with this? Yeah, they tell all your business. It's out here, how fast you're driving, where you at. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. My wife's like, yeah, you can just sign up on it. I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, oh, it's gonna be following me though. I don't want to be followed. I'm not even doing nothing, but I'm untrackable, man. You can't track me. So I ain't signed up. I said, nope. I'll ask you everything I need to know.